There's a sheet of paper taped to the inside of a kitchen cabinet door, up behind the coffee cups where you'd never look unless you knew to look. And on it, in pencil, is written every single recurring charge a household pays across a year. It costs nothing to make. A pencil and one sheet of paper. The back of an old envelope would do just as well. And I'm going to tell you something that sounds too good to be true, so let me say it plain before you decide I'm stretching it. That one sheet of paper kept an ordinary fixed-income household whole for 30 years. And it quietly did more for that family's money than every advisor they ever paid a fee to. Now, it is not a budget app. It is not a coupon binder. It is not penny pinching, and it is not going without. And it is not one of those crash plans where you eat dry toast for a month just to feel like you've suffered enough. It does not require sacrifice. It does not require willpower. It does not require a single extra dollar of income you don't already have coming in. What it requires is this, and only this, that once a month you look. That's the whole thing. You sit down and you look. And there is a quiet industry out there that does a little better every quarter when you stop looking. I'll tell you exactly who they are, because that part matters more than the trick itself. But stay with me, because by the end of this I'm going to show you the one leak nobody after 65 ever thinks to check. The one that's been running this entire time underneath the floorboards of your own bank account. Let me back up and tell you who's talking to you. My name is Yosef Levy. I'm an old man now, somewhere past 70, and I'm nobody special. I want you to understand that part. I never ran a business. I never had money to invest. I worked a normal job for a normal wage. I raised a family on a check that was spoken for before it ever landed. And the only thing that makes me worth listening to is that I've been further down this road than you have, and I paid attention the whole way. The people who raised me came up in lean years, the kind of years where the next month was already accounted for and there was nobody to call if you came up short. When the rent is due and there's 31 days left and the money's already gone, you learn fast what a dollar is actually for. That pressure, that fear of empty hands, it forced a kind of money sense into those people that we have mostly thrown away. And I watched. Growing up, I watched families on our block who did everything right, worked hard, never missed a day, never bought fancy, and still ended up short at the end, still ended up scared. We had no cushion. We had no rich uncle, no safety net, no one to bail anybody out. So you learned to make the cushion yourself, out of paper and attention, because that was all you had. Now here is the part most folks get wrong, and I need you to really sit with this one, because if you don't understand this next part, none of the rest of it will hold. Most people, when they think about the big retirement mistake, they picture one giant blunder. They picture a man who claimed his Social Security at the wrong age, or put his savings in the wrong thing, or got talked into some bad deal by a smooth fellow in a good suit. And those things happen, sure. But that is not the mistake that empties most people out after 65. The real one is so small you can't even feel it. It's a slow drip. It's $14 a month for something you signed up for once, years ago, and forgot you were even paying for. It's a charge that's so little your mind doesn't bother to flag it, 12 times a year, year after year, and nobody ever stops to add it up. And that, right there, is the trap. Not the big mistake. The little one you can't feel, repeated until it's a hole. So why does nobody warn you about this? Why, after a whole lifetime of being told to watch your money, does anyone ever remind you to do this after 65? And here is the part nobody tells you, that silence is not an accident. The question that ought to be keeping you up isn't what you're spending, it's who benefits when you quit counting. Hold on to that question, because I'm going to answer it, but not yet, not till you've earned it, and not till you understand the habit it's hiding. Let me tell you about a widow who lived on our block when I was younger. I'll tell you plainly, she's a composite. a stand-in for 3 or 4 women I actually knew, because I won't dress up a story and sell it to you as gospel. That's not how this channel works. But women like her were real, and there was always one on every street. She lived on less than anybody, a small check and a smaller pension, and yet she never ran short, not once. While families with twice her income were sweating the end of the month, she was steady. And it drove the neighbors a little crazy, because she didn't seem to do anything special. She had one rule above all her others, and I'll get to it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But first, the habit itself, the thing she did, the thing that sheet of paper on the cabinet door is for. Here's how it works, and I want you to do this with me in your head, step by step, because each piece has a reason underneath it. First, you take that sheet of paper, and by hand, in your own writing, you list every single charge that repeats, every subscription, every membership, every auto renewal, every little monthly thing that comes out, whether you thought about it or not. And I mean by hand, with a pencil, not typed into some app, and here's why. This matters. When you write a number down by hand, your mind actually sees it. An app hides things in a list you scroll past. The pencil makes you slow down and feel the weight of it. That friction is the whole point. Second, next to each one, you write a single question and you answer it honest. Is this still earning its keep? Not did I want it once? Not might I use it someday? Is it earning its keep right now, this month? And you will be amazed. You will be genuinely stunned how many of them aren't. The streaming service nobody's opened since spring. The membership to a thing you went to twice. The protection plan on an appliance you don't even own anymore. Third, and this is where it gets good, you make exactly one phone call a month. Just one. You cancel one thing. Not all of them in a furious afternoon, because that never lasts, and you know it. One. Small enough that you'll actually do it. Small enough that it's not a project, just a 5-minute call on a Tuesday. And fourth, the dollars you free up, you don't let them slide back into the river and disappear. You move them. An envelope, a separate account, a jar, it does not matter what. What matters is that the money you saved goes somewhere you can see it, instead of just quietly becoming more of the same flow you can't track. That's the habit. Paper, pencil, one question, one call a month, one envelope. Now watch what happens when you understand why it actually works, because the why is better than the what. Those small recurring charges hide for a reason, and it's not because you're careless. It's because they're engineered to sit just below the line where your brain bothers to react. A $400 bill, you notice. You feel that. You remember it. You argue about it. But $14? $9? $6? Your mind has a threshold, and anything under it slides right through without tripping the alarm. That's not a flaw in you. That's the design. The whole trick of the modern recurring charge is to live underneath your attention. So what does counting actually do? It doesn't take willpower. It doesn't take discipline. All it does is drag those little numbers up above the line where you can finally see them. You add them up, 12 of them, a year's worth, and suddenly the $6 thing is a $72 thing, and the $14 thing is a $168 thing, and the pile of them together is real money, the kind of money that, on a fixed income, is the difference between a month that holds and a month that doesn't. You didn't earn more. You just stopped failing to notice. Keep that in mind, because it matters for what comes next. Now, I owe you an answer. I told you to hold on to a question who benefits when you quit counting, and it's time, because this is the reason the whole habit got forgotten. For most of human memory, the way people bought things was simple. You paid, you owned it, and the deal was done. The man sold you the broom. You walked off with the broom, and he had no further claim on your wallet. But somewhere along the way, the smartest thing business ever figured out was that a single sale is a poor thing next to a charge that renews itself forever. Why sell a man a thing once when you can sell him a thing every month for the rest of his life, automatically, without ever having to convince him again? And the genius of it, the quiet, awful genius, is that the whole machine runs best when you're not paying attention. Set it and forget it. They call it, and they say it like a kindness, like they're sparing you the trouble. But forget it is exactly the part they need. The auto renewal, the subscription, the financed purchase, the plan that bills you whether you used it or not, every one of those is built on the assumption that you will stop looking. And who is the most reliable person on earth to stop looking? Someone older, on a fixed income, with a lot on their mind, and a lifetime of trusting that things are handled. I'm not telling you there was a meeting in a back room. I don't believe that, and I won't insult you by pretending it. It's something quieter than a conspiracy, and honestly worse, because there's no villain to catch. Nobody who profits from your forgetting has any reason on earth to remind you. There's no profit in a household that checks its own ledger. That's all it is. The old habit, the monthly reckoning, the sheet on the cabinet door quietly replaced a dozen of those charges, and there is simply nobody whose job it is to teach you the thing that costs them money. So they don't. And the knowledge slips one generation at a time, until an old man on the internet has to remind you that a pencil beats a smooth fellow in a good suit. Now, that widow's one rule, the one I promised you, it wasn't a clever trick. It was almost stupid in how simple it was. Her rule was that she looked on the first of every month. That's it. The first of the month, before she did anything else, she sat down with her paper and she looked. She didn't trust her memory, and she didn't trust the companies, and she didn't trust that things were fine. She checked that they were. The reckoning wasn't a chore she got to when she got to it. It was a day. And that's how you scale this from a one-time cleanup into a system that holds. You give it a day. You take the cabinet door sheet and you make the first of the month your reckoning day, the same way you'd never miss taking a pill or paying the rent. And once a year, one bigger sweep, where you go through every renewal that's about to come due and you ask the question again on all of them at once. A monthly look, a yearly sweep, a place to keep what you saved. That's the whole household system, and a child could run it. Now, here's where I have to be honest with you, because honesty is the only thing I've got to offer that the man in the suit doesn't, and I'd rather you trust me than be impressed by me. There's a myth on our own side of this, a frugal-sounding move that's actually a false economy, and I see good people fall into it all the time. It's the idea that the answer to a tight budget is to chase every sale and buy in bulk. 40 rolls of something because it's cheaper per roll. A case of food because it was marked down. And for a big family, fine. But for one or two people on a fixed income, half of it goes stale, goes bad, goes unused, sits in a cupboard until you throw it out and you paid up front for the privilege. Cheap per unit is not the same as thrifty. Buying something you won't finish isn't saving, it's just spending slower. So that's the myth I'll knock down. And here's the honest limit, the part where I won't oversell you. This habit will not fix a genuinely broken situation. If the income simply isn't enough, if there's medical debt swallowing everything, if the math doesn't math, no matter how careful you are, a sheet of paper won't save you, and I won't pretend it will. This is a habit, not a rescue. It keeps a tight ship tight. It does not conjure money that was never there. And here's the one caution I refuse to skip, because I've watched it go wrong. When you start canceling, don't get drunk on it. Don't go on a tear and cancel a thing that's actually protecting you, a real insurance you need, a coverage that's quietly doing its job. The goal is to cut the dead weight, not to cut the rope you're hanging from. Cheap is not always thrifty, and the cheapest month of your life can cost you dearly if you cancel the wrong thing. Look at each one. Ask if it earns its keep. And if it does, you let it stand, proudly, because paying for what genuinely serves you is not waste. It's the whole point. So let's pull back now and look at the larger thing, because this was never really about $14. Here's what a long life teaches you if you let it. Comfort is not the same as security. Convenience is not the same as freedom. And looking prosperous has never once been the same as being unreachable. A life on autopilot feels easy, right up until the day it isn't. And the trouble with an automatic life is that it's an unwatched one. Everything that builds you in the dark is counting on you to keep your eyes closed. The retirement mistake most folks make after 65 isn't one bad decision. It's the quiet morning you decide you've earned the right to stop counting and you have earned a lot of rights. But that isn't one of them, because the counting is what kept you free in the first place. So here's what you do, and you can start tomorrow. You can start tonight. You take one sheet of paper. You write down every charge that repeats by hand so you can feel it. You ask of each one, honest, is this still earning its keep? You cancel one thing a month, just one, so it actually gets done. And you put what you saved somewhere you can see it. That's the whole method, and it costs you a pencil and 1 hour a month, and it will keep more in your pocket across a year than you'd believe a habit this small could hold. What you keep has always mattered more than what you earn. Every generation that survived a hard season knew it in their bones, and we are the first ones rich enough and comfortable enough to forget it. Don't be the one who forgets. Now I want to hear from you, because I learn as much from these comments as anybody. Tell me one charge you discovered you'd been paying and completely forgot about, and be honest. For how long? Put it down below. I read them. And before you go, let me leave you with a thread to pull next time, because there's another habit I want to show you. One even simpler than this and even more forgotten. There's a way the old families cut their grocery bill nearly in half without clipping a single coupon, without a sale, without giving up a thing they love to eat, and it has nothing to do with what you buy and everything to do with one moment. Most people skip entirely. But that's a story for next time. Spend less than you earn. Look before you sign, and never let anything bill you in the dark. I'll see you down the road.